What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Land Sports Show. I'm your host, Kevin Sleds. With me tonight, I've got Mr. Joey Schneider,
What's
Mr.
going on,
Clarence
everyone?
Wilson, and for the first time, not producing in a co-host role, Mr. Derek Dimmitt. How's everybody
I came
doing
out,
tonight?
stepped out from behind the curtain.
It's hot as hell.
It is hot as hell. I'm outside. I got a party going on at my house, so I'm in the front. Everyone else is in the back. I'm like, I got a show I got to be on.
All right, so we're going to get into the NBA draft for our Cleveland Cavaliers, which is coming up here in less than 2 weeks. We're going to go over some prospects who have been rumored to them in some different mock drafts, and some guys that they've been rumored to be interested in. And maybe Joey has another guy or two that he likes. He's our big NBA guy. But we'll start off just kind of going over each one and our thoughts on each one. The first guy is a wing, which we all know the Cavs need desperately. Tristan da Silva out of Colorado. He's a 6'8" wing, averaged 16 points, shot at 40% from three last year. Scouting report on him: he's a good catch and shoot shooter, good passer, good perimeter defender. The one knock on him is he lacks explosive athleticism. But other than that, he seems like a pretty good fit. What's your guys' opinion on Tristan da Silva? Joey, we'll start with you.
I really like Da Silva. He's actually 6'9". Kevin, get your shit straight. But he just like you said, he's a solid two-way player. He averaged 16 points in the regular season. I mean, he was one of those guys that he could pass, he could rebound, he could shoot, great on defense. If he's sitting there, for the Cavs at 20, it's going to be really hard for them not to pull the trigger on someone like that, because that kind of fits the mold of what they need. However, like you said, he doesn't have an explosive first step, but I think does KD have an explosive first step? Not to compare Tristan da Silva to Kevin Durant, but I'm saying there's a lot of small forwards out there that don't have an explosive first step, but are extremely effective and can get to the rim. And I think that someone like da Silva, I think that over time, he is someone that can be a solid player in the league. But like I said, over time, and I just don't know how much time the Cavs have right now.
Clarence, how you feeling about Mr. da Silva?
Tools are there. Anybody that's talked to me on any Believe Land media show that we've done forever, I've been screaming for them to get a wing with athleticism. He doesn't seem to have the athleticism, but seems to have everything else. So he might be the best guy available, although I have seen some mock drafts where there's guys that I particularly would like to see slide down towards the Cavs. But for what we're looking for, I think he'll be all right. I guess that would be the nicest thing I could say. He's big, 6'9". He can shoot.
He's not awful.
No, he's not terrible. But I just feel like with you watch Boston and you see, with all the guys they have on the wings and their athleticism and their defensive ability, and we need somebody to match up with that. And that might be there at 20. We just don't know it. But I'm not sure if this guy's the answer. But if he's there, size is good. He can shoot.
You also guys, where was Jason? What pick was Jason Tatum?
3.
What pick was Jaylen Brown?
3.
There's your two wings that the Celtics
Yeah,
have.
exactly.
They're high draft picks, and the Cavs are at 20. Although, and I don't mean to take up Derek's time, but real quick, drafts are deeper than they ever have been, especially in the last 10, 15 plus years. you can find guys. More guys have been found in the latter part of the drafts that have turned out to be either some superstar players or some really good players than ever before. But this draft, I feel, is, and I think it was I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was James maybe said this feels like an Anthony Bennett draft. And, and it's kind of you like Bradley Beal came out of that draft, but it kind of feels a little bit like that. Like there might be one good player early on, and you're looking you might get a solid rotation piece if you're lucky. So we'll see though.
I'm compared to the 2020 draft, but I'll let Derek go off.
Yeah, I think right now we're looking at it as the roster is currently constructed. So, that is the need now. The wing D, 3 and D type player, and Joey hit on it, and Clarence mentioned it. You're not getting a day one starter at pick 20. It's just not in the cards in the NBA. If you're going to pick a guy, it's going to be a rotation piece. How does he fit in with what you want to do? And right now, the Cavs roster's constructed as it is. One day it's everyone wants everyone back. The next day, this guy's going to get traded. But as of right now, there's no head coach, so there's no telling what that head coach wants. Does he want two big guys? Does he want to run like a 3 guard offense or what? So right now, I mean, I looked at the list that Kevin supplied us pre-show, and De Silva is the one that I think fits as currently constructed. If you move DG, maybe that opens a hole for someone else. If you move Jared Allen, that opens a hole in the front court. But as currently constructed, I think De Silva would be the pick if he were available. Like Joey said, it'd be a very hard pass if he were sitting there at 20.
You mentioned if DG is moved and if that possibility comes up, this next guy could be the pick. Carlton Carrington out of Pittsburgh. He's a guard, 6'3", averaged 14 points, only shot 32% from three. He's still a work in progress from the outside. Good mid-range shooter, very good ball handler. He's comfortable off the dribble, able to create his own shot, and a good playmaker as well, running an offense. Negatives, like I said, his three-point shot is a work in progress. Doesn't attack the rim. He kind of relies on his jumper a little bit too often. And whoever heard this before, he's slender, needs to put on some weight. we have a few guys like that. Joey, what are your thoughts on Carrington?
I like him. A lot of energy. The knock on him is, and it probably would always be, is if we trade DG, he's not DG. He's not. I don't know if he's that same caliber type player that DG was. But you learn quick. If DG was to be traded, which I don't think he will be, but you never know. You're gonna learn very quickly under someone like Donovan Mitchell and whoever we trade DG for. So if DG's traded and Carrington did that, I think you almost have to go Carrington unless you get another point guard back in return in the trade. I think you would have to go Carrington. But I like him, solid player. I think that he would learn a lot and fast next to Donovan Mitchell. So I'm assuming if we trade DG, it's going to be for a small forward, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. So then you would have to worry about a point guard then. So unless they slid Mitchell over to point guard and Strus starts at the 2, and then whoever you traded DG for at 3. So who knows? But I like Carrington, and I think that he's someone that can maybe not replace, but do a good job and learn rather quickly if we needed a point guard.
Clarence, how you feeling?
One of the things that, just from what I've kind of read about him, some of the things that I'm reading, it almost like sounds like some of the things that we struggle with DG. You know, I read some reports on him saying not a good finisher, lacks balance, and seems afraid to finish around the rim. And it sounds a lot like the DG that we watched in the playoffs. But you know, I've also read that he is a quick twitch athlete, fast sprinter, gets off the ground quickly. That's something I don't think DG does possess. So, if DG is moved, and I disagree with Joey, I think his ass is gone. I don't care what the Cavs say. I would be all right with him. Again, we're looking at pick 20, so I feel like if any draft, this is going to be, like I was talking about, similar to the 2020, where Anthony Edwards was not the consensus number one pick. They were also looking at Wiseman and LaMelo, but nobody really knew what was going on.
I think Edwards was pretty much a consensus.
Nah, they were talking about drafting Wiseman, man. A lot of people were talking Wiseman and LaMelo as well.
I remember LaMelo, the case for LaMelo. I don't remember the case for Wiseman because they already had Cat.
Check your record, sir. Sorry.
Double D, how you feeling?
Kind of like Joey said, if you have DG, it kind of becomes a pick that wouldn't really give you much more. I mean, let's not forget we have Ty Jerome on the team. I mean,
yeah, forgotten man.
You said don't forget. We all forgot. And I like Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome, great person from Virginia. Played at Virginia. I got a chance to interview him at the Cavs Media Day. Really liked him as a person. Have no idea what happened to him. I don't even know if the Cavs said what happened to him.
The worst sprained ankle in history.
Yeah.
Season ending.
Broke his coccyx.
But I know a lot with the NBA goes kind of a positionless. Some teams kind of go that route, but how many 6'2" and 6'3" guards can you have? You know, at some point you kind of have to go to that traditional look of a shooting guard being 6'5" or 6'6", not running 6'2" and 6'3" guys out there all game long.
Agreed.
Ty Jerome's a 6'5" point guard. Just putting that out
there. The next couple guys up on the list we got some big guys. These guys could be in play if Jared Allen is moved potentially.
Name them like together, so we can just group them together. Just so I can say no collectively.
All right, I'll run through them real quick. We got first Dookie Fluky, Kyle Filipakowski. He's a forward center, 6'10", averaged 16.8 last year, shot 35% from three. Positives on him: he's a good ball handler, a good defender, can score inside and out. Negatives: doesn't finish well at the rim, another one of those, and he's turnover prone.
So basically, he's Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dean Wade, not Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I was going to say who?
Yeah.
I knew who he was.
No, I'm sorry. I was Dwayne Wade's on the brain because he's pushing for Chris Quinn.
And then we've also got Zach Edey out of Purdue, 7'3", averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks per game last year. He's a good interior scorer, great touch at the rim, high basketball IQ, a good post defender, good size and strength down low. And his durability, he's only missed one game in his college career at Purdue. Negatively, he's poor defensively away from the basket. He's too slow. We get him away from the basket, he's lost. Lacks a perimeter game. I know that's something he was working on at the combine, shooting the 3-ball, and struggles in high tempo situations. Another fault of being as big as he is. And then my favorite of the big guys, Darren Holmes out of Dayton. He's a 6'10" high flyer, 20 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, shot almost 40% from three. So he's an inside out big, very good shot blocker, high basketball IQ, His 3-point shots improved every year. I think it improved almost 13% from last year to this past season. Good on the pick and roll as well, which the Cavs like to run. Negatives, inexperience. He's still learning to play the game. Hasn't been playing the game very long, and he's also turnover prone. So there's 3 big guys for you. What are your thoughts on them?
I feel like you're trying to sell me on Holmes. Like there's a lot more deficiencies than what you said. I really feel like you were trying hard to sell me on Holmes. So basically, your choices are another Dean Wade. My favorite comparison for Edie has been Boban Marjanovic, which I think is probably the perfect comparison for him.
I think he's a little better than Boban.
Yeah, maybe. Let me just say this right now: I will not have any Boban slander on this show. That is just sacrilegious.
I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying Edie's a little bit better than him.
No one's better than Boban.
I don't know, man. I watched Zach Edey. I watched Zach Edey against UConn get bodied by their smaller guards, miss dunks, and airball a free throw, all within like a 5-minute game time span. That was it for me. I didn't need to see anything else. I do not want him anywhere close to my team. You're out. You can't at that size. Missing dunks is not an option. And airballing a free throw? Nah, bro. Nah, I can't get down with him ever. Out of the 3, I would say Holmes, but I'll tell you right now, I want nothing with Kyle, and absolutely nothing with Zach Edey.
Holmes
got a laughing emoji, whatever that means.
Well, there's 2 things here. Holmes is just another undersized center to me. You know, he's 6'9", like 6'9/6'10". He's not a very big center. I mean, he was a center on Dayton. He's like an inch shorter than Obi Toppin, but Obi was, the small forward and a lot more athletic. And the second thing is, I don't know if you know this, but Boban can actually walk on water. And he doesn't do it often, but that man is amazing. Yeah. So no
Joe trying to turn this into the
I would try.
He's turning this into the Ty Jerome Boban show.
I enjoyed his commercials with Tobias Harris.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would potentially trade Donovan Mitchell for Boban Marjanovic.
You don't do that.
Time to cut his feet, Kev.
Yeah, Clarence, please help. Pull us out of that.
No, there's just I have an issue with big, slow centers, big, slow players, and that's Filipowski and Edey. I got nothing for them. I don't want to see them on the Cavs. I would love to play against them. Like I said, watching Edey get bodied by UConn's guards was kind of shocking to me. I'm like, that dude's that big, and they're just getting to the rim how they want to. When they get inside, they're giving him a little shoulder check. He's backing up, and then, like I said, the missed dunks and the airball free throws. Like that's not a guy I want on my team. I get that, it was just one thing, and I know that he had a decent game, but a lot of his points he got were in garbage time during that game. So, and as far as Holmes, again, I like the fact that he can play a little bit of defense from everything that I've read. The high motor is what it is. I've seen several times, so I think we could use something like that. But where does he play? Like again, we're moving to the positionless basketball. It's cool, but I don't know where he would play at, I guess, for the Cavs.
I honestly, real quick, before Derek, again, I'm sorry. I agree. No, I just want to say, because I'm making a lot of jokes. Holmes, if we make no trades, I think you almost have to look at Holmes because when we were down a big man last year, that we lost almost every game. Those were the games we lost, is when we were missing a big man, because and it Allen had big games without Mobley. Mobley had big games without Allen, but we just seem to be losing a lot of those games. And I think that you have to look for a backup there at some point if we're not making that trade. So it really comes down to, do we get a wing or do we get a backup big man? Sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
I know we don't have a head coach, but is John Lucas in the running? Because it's all about the bigs.
The bigs.
But yeah, we already have two bigs, and they say Mobley doesn't want to play center, and Allen, there's conflicting reports about what happened with him in the Boston series. But I think as the team's currently constructed, I know Joey made points to needing that backup center for injuries, but I think a wing is more needed if you're drafting based on need. Like Joey said, if De Silva's not there and Holmes is, maybe you do pick Holmes to add that security as that rotational big. I know they brought in Marcus Morris towards the end. They had Tristan, and then he got popped for PEDs and came back for the playoffs, but really wasn't, much more than just kind of a 5 minutes off the bench kind of guy. So I could see that, but yeah, I'm kind of in agreement when it comes to Filipowski and Edie, just those big white guys,
Why'd you gotta make it a racial thing, Derek?
It is what it is.
We're not talking
I let him say it because I was going to say it. I let him say it.
I'm just picking up what Clarence was putting down, because he was getting ready to say it, and then he was like, unathletic.
We're not talking about Caitlin Clark here.
It's got a high motor, Joey. Got a high motor.
Gym rat.
I take Caitlin Clark over Zach Edey. So I think someone that was mentioned, who I actually do like a lot, is Keyshawn George from Miami.
Yeah, he was actually next on the list.
Yeah, I'm jumping in front of you. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Derek's used to it.
Yeah, Derek's used to it. You should be used to it now too. I mean, he's 6'7". He's a guard, small forward, but he's a small forward. He came off the bench from Miami, but he had solid stats everywhere. He's basically a Karis LeVert clone, just a little bit bigger. He needs to work on his defense a little bit, but besides that, a lot of people have said he might have the highest floor in the draft. So, I think that kind of says, okay, well, where does that leave his ceiling? So, that's kind of what everyone wants to know. But, that's the type of player who I look at and I go, that could be the next Jimmy Butler. That's his game. That's the type of game he plays, is that he can do a little bit of everything, and if he puts the work in with the right people, he'll be able to do a little bit of everything at a high level. So I don't think he's going to be there at 20, but if he is, he would probably be the one that I would take at 20.
Shout out Pile Driver. What's up, y'all?
What's up, Dean? What's up, Mike? What's up, Vince?
Piggybacking off of what Joey said, George seems to be the most versatile of kind of some of the guys. Roosters. All right. He seems to be versatile. I can't front. I'm not super familiar with Miami basketball, but how many guys do they have on that team that were better than him that he didn't start and didn't, that might be something that we need to look at. But as far as tools go, from everything that I've read and the little bit of highlights that I've seen and lowlights, it seems like he's a versatile player. He is that 6'7", 6'8" guy who can handle the ball. And maybe that could be our wing of the future. It's a possibility. I don't hate him, but again, I kind of agree with Joey. From everything I'm reading, I'm not sure he would be there at 20.
Derek, hurry up before Joey cuts you off again.
Wait, before Derek starts. No, go ahead,
Kind
Derek.
of goes back to De Silva, in looking. I know James said the only wings we're getting are at Roosters, and at least he picked the place that has probably the best wings out of the wing joints here. But I think that he would fill the need. Maybe not as big of a scorer, but maybe it was just not the opportunity with Miami. Like Clarence said, I would be lying if I said I watched much Miami basketball this past winter, but the 41% from 3-pointer, that's something that maybe he could build on, as he moves into the NBA and gets a little better at defense. Everyone on wings wants 3-and-D. It started with Kawhi, and since then, PJ Tucker's still playing basketball because he's a 3-and-D. Every year someone picks him up or trades him, or if you're the Clippers, you just hold on to him against his will. But that's a story for another day. But there's a place for those types of players. So, if he can grow into that Jimmy Butler type, and you get him at 20 and he can kind of flourish with not being the number one guy on offense, he'd be like the third or fourth option. Maybe, make the open three. That's all we needed from Okoro, but, it wasn't there all the time. And that's why we're sitting here talking about these guys.
Yeah, he's a wing, and he's one of the top shooters in the draft, and that's two things we need: wings and shooters. Right. So,
yep,
that's not a guy I'd be opposed to.
Well, one thing I want to get.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't got much time left. Guys,
all right, I was just going to say that brings us to the wild card, Mr. Ronnie James out of USC.
Oh, we got to talk about that. Come on, bro.
All I'll say is not at 20. If they want to acquire a second round pick, take a flyer in the second round if he's there, sure, I'm all for that. But you can't waste the 20th pick.
If it guarantees us 2 years of LeBron, I'd do it.
Yeah, that would be the only way. But he's not leaving LA. But the reports out there, he said originally he was going to work out for the Lakers and Phoenix only. But supposedly he added 2 teams, and the rumor is it's New York and Cleveland. So we'll see.
I'm coming home.
All right, before we let Joey go, coaching search still.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear your shenanigans. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. We're talking about Cavs.
No, we were going to continue. We're going to get into the coaching search.
You guys can talk about the coaching search without me. That's the least of my concern. I want to know who in their right mind, and this has got to be a smokescreen or BS, because there's rumors going around that the front office likes Herb Jones better than Brandon Ingram. I'm sorry. I like Herb Jones. I like Trey Murphy. I would take either of them along with Brandon Ingram, but Brandon Ingram is he's 6'8". He averaged 22 or 23, 5 and 5, and 2 blocks and a steal. Like he does a little bit of everything. He can go off and have a monster night. I had this trade scenario. I just want to know yeses or nos. Ingram. Or and this has been a lot of people have said this. and it's been a weird one for me to answer. DG and Jared Allen for Ingram, McCollum, and and Herb Jones. Do you do
Yes.
that trade?
The thing is, I think what the Cavs are looking at is he's in the last year of his deal and he's going to want a max contract, and you're going to be paying. You got DG on a max contract. You got Mitchell going to be putting on a max contract, and you're reportedly signing Mobley to a max contract this summer. So financially, can it make him fit signing Ingram long term as well?
Well, if you're getting rid of if you're getting rid of DG's contract, then you're just replacing one for the other.
Right. But reportedly, the Cavs aren't very high on Ingram. So again, a lot of the stuff is coming from Sam Amico. So I mean,
reportedly,
you take that. I mean, I haven't heard any of the bigger guys saying any of this stuff. A lot of it's coming from Sam Amico. So whatever his sources are, take that with a grain of salt.
I'm his source. I've been feeding him crap just so we can talk about it on the show.
I got booted out, but I would do that trade in a heartbeat only for just to get Herb Jones. We need that 3-and-D guy.
You like Herb Jones better than Brandon Ingram?
You know what? Honestly, I feel like Brandon Ingram is just a bigger Darius Garland. Relies on his jumper. He can do obviously he can do a few other things, but like he's not playing defense on anybody. He's got the length for sure, but he's not a prime or primo defender. So I'd be okay. I'd be okay with the trade. I'm not saying I like Herb Jones better than Brandon Ingram, but I would want Herb Jones in the deal. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, guys, I gotta get going. I will talk to you guys, everyone, soon. Have fun with the rest of the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming on.
Later.
All right, so moving on to the coaching search, that's still ongoing. I heard Chris Fedor say today that he thinks they could have a coach in place by the end of this week. He said, James Borrego, from what he's heard, still the leading candidate. That I also read that Atkinson maybe kind of has backed off, or they've backed off of him, one or the other. So it could be between Borrego. I know Mikanori did interview as well, and so did Dave Yorger, who was brought on as a consultant last year. But I've heard that he could end up the top assistant, which on the staff of whatever coach they choose, whether it be Borrego, Atkinson, Nori. But also heard Dan Gilbert could possibly be accumulating his own coaching list, which, like we said, he's done in the past. And the David Blatt and John Beeline hires were all Dan Gilbert's ideas. So, yeah, we could get a name come out of nowhere off Dan's list, and it's his team, so he has the final say.
Yeah, great.
I think we lost.
Pays a lot of
again.
money to have a say.
Yeah, definitely.
But Borrego seems to be the big name in Cleveland and LA. Everything seemed got quiet surrounding JJ Redick here. He was the hot button, when the coaching searches started out, but that seems to have kind of gone down. Dwayne Wade's pushing for Chris Quinn, former Cavalier. For what did you tell me? 10 games,
very short
7 games, something like that. But you found a picture, so the proof is out there. But yeah, I think you don't want to give so much to your star player, like for them to choose who's going to lead them. But in today's NBA and for the NBA for the past 15 years or so, it's kind of happened one way or another. It's easier to get rid of a coach than it is to revamp a roster. So I know a lot of people have, brought up guys that have either played with Donovan or Coach Donovan out in Utah, or people that he's good with as potential candidates. But it'll be interesting to see who they land on. I would like to see them have a head coach in place before the draft. Like I said earlier, without a head coach and kind of their thumbprint on the team and rotations and offense that they want to run, defense they want to run, makes it difficult to see, which of these players would be the best fit for what the Cleveland Cavaliers are for 2024 and 2025 and beyond. And as a first round draft pick, you hope they're here for at least 3 or 4 years and then either moved in a trade or, then you re up them.
One thing that did come out this week that I want to get your guys' opinions on. It came out that Donovan Mitchell does not want Jared Allen traded. He loves him as a teammate and wants him here. So we all know Garland and Allen have been rumored, to be moved this whole offseason so far. So I find it a little interesting that he comes out and speaks on wanting Jared Allen to stay here, but hasn't said anything about Darius Garland. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Go ahead, Clarence.
I thought the same thing. Like, okay, that's cool. He wants JA here, but he's not even going to say nothing about DG, which is another reason why I think that he's gone, honestly. But I guess to me, the bigger thing is he can say he wants Allen here, but he got to sign first. Like, he can't dictate what we're going to do if we don't even know if you're going to be here. I want him here, believe me. Yeah, I want Spider here without a doubt. But I think it's hard for them to say, all right, yeah, we'll do that. But and then he hasn't inked his name to any contract yet. So I like Jared Allen. I think he's an underrated part of the Cavs. I think they play much better when he's on the floor, even though there was the lights too bright comment last year and all those things, but I feel like they're a better team when he plays. But again, that being said, I don't think that Spider can dictate this until he signs his name to the dotted line.
Derek, what do you think?
I think it kind of ties back into the comment about Mobley not wanting to be a center. And if Jared Allen's here, he isn't forced to play a position that he supposedly has no interest in playing, even though we mentioned earlier that a lot of the NBA is positionless, but someone's got to stand in the circle to jump. So I guess you still need a center, but yeah, you hear Kobe Altman pretty much say, we're going to run it back with a new coach, and then, Donovan makes this comment on Jared Allen, and it is a little interesting that he didn't kind of say, I want Jared and Darius back, but, maybe he thinks it's easier to switch in a different guard than it is a different big man, for what he wants to do kind of as the leader of the team. And, even if he isn't the point guard, there's a lot of times that he's leading the offense. He's initiating the offense, bringing the ball up the court. So maybe he'd like a off guard to be someone that maybe is a better shooter that, he can drive and kick to, and, it's going to be a 40% shooter and not someone that's closer to the 33% shooter from outside. But yeah, like Clarence said, until Donovan commits to us, I don't think that we should let him kind of be the puppeteer for Kobe Altman in the front office.
Well, that's what I was going to mention next, and James apparently must have read my mind because he's got a comment here. The Mitchell extension could come as soon as tomorrow if the Celtics win tonight. A coach might not take the job until he knows who's on the roster. Once again, I heard Chris Fedor say if the series ends tonight, we'll probably have Mitchell news tomorrow about him re-upping, and then maybe a few days later, the coach, they don't, there's an order of what they want that to happen. They want Mitchell to commit first, give that a couple days to marinate, and then, announce the coaching hire. So Celtics win tonight. I think we're going to hear a lot of news this week that we've been waiting to hear. Good news too. And then it's on to who we get rid of.
Are you guys falling for the smoke screen? They're saying they really want to keep this core four together. I'm not buying it.
No, I think one of Allen or Garland are going to be gone. I mean, you need a wing, a starting wing, and the only way to get one is to trade somebody. Because it's like you said, it's not coming in the draft. The draft, you're going to get a role player or a guy who's definitely not ready to play day one.
I think that it's, not giving up the leverage. If they come out and say, oh, these guys are on the block, we're, going to revamp the starting five, they lose any and all leverage that they would have had because, even the guys that have been in the league for a while, I think the NBA more than any of the other leagues, there's a lot of feelings, and once they feel like they've been betrayed, it's hard to rebuild bridges that have been burned in the NBA. At least in terms of trade rumors and things like that. But yeah, I think that one of the four, and I don't think it's Mobley because he's young and controllable. I don't think that it's Donovan because, he is the superstar out of the four. So that leaves Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and, it just depends on, are teams more likely to want a center or are they more likely to want a guard, and who you can get in return, and the best return, that guy's likely gone.
Moving on to the Browns, not a whole lot to talk about there. Just finished up mini camp. We've got the Amari Cooper situation. There's some optimism, excuse me, about a new contract. Today would have been a perfect day on his birthday, but hopefully they get something wrapped up before training camp. And then Myles Garrett suffered a hamstring injury last day of mini camp. So, here's hoping that doesn't carry over into training camp. Not sure how bad it is. He's told people that he's fine. So, those hamstrings are always a concern. And any thoughts on the Browns heading into training camp?
Stay healthy.
Just stay healthy.
Yep.
After last year, we can't possibly have another year like that with injuries. That was
right.
unbelievable.
Just, enjoy this month or so of vacation before they ramp up for training camp, but just stay healthy. Don't do anything stupid. Is that asking too much, though?
Yeah, let's not go through 5 quarterbacks again. We don't want to be calling Phillip Rivers to get him come off the couch this year.
Right.
If we get Brady back here, Brady's going to have an itch every single year. This might be a prime setting for Tom Brady to come back. But
what if he came out of the booth on opening day when we're playing Dallas? He just comes out of the booth, gets on the elevator, goes down to field level, straps it up right there, leads us to victory. Hollywood.
He takes that Josh Gordon jersey that's hanging somewhere and rips it off and puts his 12 on and calls it a day.
Yeah. There we go.
No, I agree with Derek. They just got to stay healthy, man. They got to stay healthy. Yeah. And as last year, this whole season depends on Watson. We're not going to get lucky again with finding, Flacco on the couch. If it had, again, we joke about Brady and those guys, but that was lightning in a box, lightning in a bottle, whatever you call it. Like, it's not going to happen again. I do like, we did kind of discuss on the previous shows, 2 shows again, our opener, about having, Jameis back there. But this team is going to go as far as Deshaun Watson can take them, period.
Agreed. Stay healthy and get the old Deshaun Watson back. That's what we need.
Yep.
All right, so the Guardians coming off a series in Toronto, kind of limping out of that one, lost the last 2. Almost came back yesterday. Almost pulled it off in the ninth. Had the winning run, or go-ahead run. I'm sorry, on second base. But they went 4-4 on the road trip. They're 44-25, 5 games ahead of Kansas City, 5.5 ahead of the hard-charging Twins, who have kind of gotten hot. Jose Ramirez out on paternity. Congratulations. Got the new baby. He's expected back tomorrow for the start of the Seattle series. Got some tough games coming up. Gavin Williams made his 4th rehab start with no issues. He's slated to make one more Friday. We're hoping with the Rubber Ducks, because we'll be covering that game and hopefully get an interview with Gavin. But he topped out at 97 miles per hour, so he's looking good, rounding back into form. And one thing I wanted to talk about, this was a great feel-good story of bringing Carlos Carrasco back after all he's been through. He was one of the beloved Cleveland players from the past, but it's just not working. I mean, he's getting lit up pretty much every start now, and being in the position they're in first place, and trying to hold on to the division, I think his days are numbered. What are your thoughts on Mr. Carrasco?
I think, like you said, it was a great story. He wasn't guaranteed anything in spring training. Came in, performed, made the team out of spring training, and it's a great story. He's a great leader on the team, a great teammate. But like you said, they're in first place now, but Kansas City and Minnesota is coming. So you got to keep the pedal to the metal. And now with Gavin Williams coming back, you're going to need a spot in the rotation. And he's the easiest one to kind of dispose of. But even with the rough go of it on the road trip, they still are in first place, have a not comfortable, but it's not a half game lead or something like that. And I don't want to jump the gun, but Stephen Kwan almost batting 400, leading the league in 3-hit games despite missing a month. Like, just amazing. And he's that old school player in a generation that is all about the long ball. He just gets up there and finds the gap, smacks one down the line. It's just great to watch, and I'm happy that he's on our favorite team, because it would drive me crazy if he was in Kansas City or Detroit or Minnesota and we had to face that as often.
I agree with Derek. I feel like they bring Carrasco in, and it's a feel good story, but I don't know that anyone thought they'd be in the position that they're in. So there's not room for a feel good story right now. Like, they need to try and win games, and he seems to be looking to be the odd man out. And as far as Quan goes, that kid, I only really follow. Full disclosure, I only really follow the Guardians. I don't dive full head into baseball until after basketball season starts, but it seems like he's been killing it. And it seems like that's something that the Guardians need is, obviously they need people to get on base. It seems like, for a while hitting is sometimes a struggle for them. So it's good to see him coming back and playing well.
Yeah, and he's the perfect leadoff hitter. He's what we've needed for a long time. Hitting just under 400 at 4 hits yesterday. I know he missed a few weeks, so he doesn't qualify for the batting title right now, the batting lead, but he's getting close to qualifying for that. You got Daniel Schneemann, who's another kind of feel-good story, a late bloomer, 27 years old, kind of in the mold of David Fry. He's come up here, and he's hitting 375, hit his first Major League home run yesterday on Father's Day. His dad said on Twitter, he asked him for a home run, and he got it, so that was pretty cool. But rumors about some roster moves coming up. I know there was rumors about a catcher, Eric Rodriguez, possibly coming up here. He kind of hinted at something on his Instagram page. John Kensey Noel, who's just been tearing it up in Columbus, was taken out of the lineup on Saturday and did not play Sunday. And the rumor was he was seen leaving Columbus with bags packed. So he could be another one on the move up to Cleveland. We'll see. Usually announce him after the off day. So probably sometime tomorrow before the game, we'll probably get some news on some roster moves. But where we go, a couple other notes. Cleveland Monsters lost a heartbreaker in Game 7. They fought all the way back down 3-0 to tie the series, and then lost Game 7 in Hershey in overtime. They tied it late, but lost it 3-2. So congratulations on a great season out of the Monsters. And then the hot topic, Caitlin Clark, won her matchup against Angel Reese, 91-83 the other night. She scored 23 points to Reese's 11. There was a play late where Reese looked like she was possibly going for the ball, smacked her across the head. They reviewed it, called it a flagrant. I know Angel kind of took offense to that after the game. So, what are your thoughts on the little rivalry between those two?
Good for the women's game. It's bringing more eyes to the game. I'm a little bit, older, so I remember, the Cheryl Swoops of the day, and you bringing in, what's the other girl from back in the day? Candace Parker.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm not going that far back. Come on, man.
That's Kevin. Who Kevin watcher?
Kevin and I are the same age, man. Don't try and put that evil on us. But I do think it's good for the game. I am a little tired of the constant discourse about the way she's being treated. It happened. This was a part of the game when we were coming up. If you're a hotshot rookie coming in the league, you are going to get boss balled on. It is going to happen. You are going to get hit hard. You're going to get knocked down. Your fouls are going to be a little bit harder. That's just the way things go. I'm sorry for all the people who are hurt by it, but that's how it was. So I don't think that what's happening to her is any different than anything that happened to anybody in the NBA through the basically 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s before everybody got all friendly. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good for the women's game. A lot of attention does go to Caitlin Clark because of her college career, but there's other rookies in the WNBA right now that are playing well and that had great college careers. Angel Reese, is it Cameron Brink? I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I thought. I'm pretty sure she got drafted by LA or something, or I know she went to Stanford. But anyways, back on topic. But it's great to grow the women's game. It's something that I would love to see Cleveland bring back the Rockers. I know people have said that Dan Gilbert has zero interest in it. Maybe Columbus looks into bringing a team, to kind of play in nationwide, so they have something in hockey's off season to have a sport down there other than the soccer team and minor league baseball. But it's great to see the game growing, covering high school girls sports. There's a lot of great athletes. It's great to see that it isn't the old school where, it's boys game or something. There's a lot of great women athletes. Got to see Kent State win the MAC tournament earlier this spring, and just seeing it. It's great basketball, and like you said, Clarence, it's kind of the old school basketball in a way because a lot of the NBA is that buddy ball. These guys get on the AAU circuit at 10, 12 years old, and they know each other, they're friends, and there's nothing against being friends with your opponents, but sometimes it's a little too much,
Yep.
and seeing some of this in the WNBA kind of does take you back to, the Pistons of the 80s and stuff, and, a few hard fouls here, and, as long as it's within the game. I mean, I know you said that Angel Reese, it was escalated to a flagrant, but it was at least something. It was a basketball play, whether
Exactly.
or not the execution of it stayed within those realms. Clearly, the referees thought after watching the replay that it didn't, but no one's out there, drop kicking her on her when she's making a drive to the hoop or something. But a good hard foul here and
That's
there
Draymond.
would be good. Yeah, yeah, that is. But yeah, it's great to see. In the late '90s, it was women's soccer that had a lot of fanfare. And now you're seeing it with women's basketball, and I'm all for it.
It's called
Great.
setting the tone. Setting the tone.
Setting
You
the
come
tone.
inside here,
Yep.
you come in here, this is what you're going to get. You
Yep.
think this about it next time. Like I
Yep.
said, old school basketball.
You're gonna pull up at the corner instead of drive at the corner of the free throw line instead of driving in after you get hit 3 times.
Right.
Bill Lane Beer will be proud. All right, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Next week, we'll be back on Monday, hopefully with a Cavaliers head coach in place and a Donovan Mitchell extension coming this week. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week. And until then, everybody take care, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, guys.